Meanwhile, India's External Affairs Ministry has revealed that the team will be representing the nation at the United Nations Security Council. India, remember, has taken over as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council from the 1st of January for a 2-year period. Now, India's key focus will, of course, be on global reforms within the UNSC, strong action against terror, peacekeeping, amongst other things. Now, India, along with Norway, Kenya, Ireland and Mexico, will be joining the 15-member UN Security Council for a 2-year term. A term that presents India with a bit of a unique opportunity to demonstrate its global power. It's also an opportunity in strengthening its claim to a permanent seat on the Council with the actions that India can take over the course of the next 2 years. Now, something new that Delhi has been seeking for decades. So what will be India's agenda at the high table? What values will guide India's approach? And what powers will India have as a non-permanent member of the UNSC? And how many terms has India already served at the UNSC previously and when? Now, in the next 4 minutes, we shall be discussing all of this. So let's start with the history. Now, this is not the first time that India has been a non-permanent member of the UNSC. It has been so at least 7 times in the past. Between 1950 till 51, 67 till 68, 72 to 73, 77 till 78, 84 to 85, 1991 to 1992, and after a 19-year break from 2011 till 2012. And then we have the second point. What values will India uphold at the UNSC? Now, in the words of the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, India's approach will be guided by 5 S's. One is Samman, another is Samvad, another is Sahyog, Shanti and Samriddhi. Respect, dialogue, cooperation, peace and prosperity. Now, with these values in mind, India promises to emerge as a mediating force as frictions, of course, continue to rise in different parts of the world. Now, the key priorities that India will be looking at is countering terrorism, maritime security, scientific research, technological development with a bit of a human touch, and maintaining international peace. Priorities that could pave the way for a permanent seat at the UNSC. Remember, for a non-permanent member, there is no right to veto any proposal. Now, India has the fourth highest troop contributing nation at the United Nations. A total of 6,700 Indian troops are deployed in different peacekeeping missions of the United Nations around the world. Now, currently, more than 200,000 Indians have served in 49 of the 71 UN peacekeeping missions since 1948. 160 Indians have also lost their lives serving under the UN flag. In 2007, India became the first country to deploy an all-women contingent to a UN peacekeeping mission. The formed police unit in Liberia provided 24-hour guard duty and conducted night patrolling in the country's most troubled regions. India will also be seeking to leverage its strength to improve peacekeeping efforts around the world. Now, secondly, India is also the vaccine manufacturing hub of the world. Almost about 60% of the vaccines distributed around the world, interestingly, are manufactured in India. That is 1 out of every 3 vaccines. Now, every year, India produces about 3 billion doses of the vaccines. The cost of production and clinical trials is, in fact, the lowest in the world. And this is one of the reasons why India is known as the world's pharmacy. India will be seeking to reform the institution to respond better to the health crisis in the future. Now, the third reason, and this is a very important one, and it's India's clear position in combating international terrorism. Now, as a non-permanent member, India will be pushing for an effective response to global terrorism. The abuse of information technology by terrorists is, of course, a big issue. India will be raising this issue time and again, disrupting their nexus with sponsors, stemming the flow of terror financing, and also strengthening cooperation with other multilateral forums. Now, the common perception about non-permanent members at the UNSC is that they are pretty powerless because they don't have the veto, unlike the big 5, the permanent members who have the power to use their veto and more diplomatic influence to achieve their interests. Now, all of this, of course, is true, but that does not mean that a non-permanent membership of the UNSC is completely inconsequential. They have what is called as the collective veto. So let's explain as to how this works. Therefore, any UNSC resolution to pass, at least about 7 non-permanent members should agree to it. Even if the permanent members have already said yes to a resolution, it needs the votes of at least 7 other non-permanent ones. This is the collective veto. And along with the permanent members, the non-permanent ones also assume monthly presidency of the UNSC. As the president, a non-permanent member can of course decide the topic of debate and issues that are important to be discussed at the high table. And lastly, non-permanent members also preside over several committees and working groups at the UNSC. Now put all of this together and there is enough wriggle room for India to try and lead from the front, not to mention a chance to strengthen its case to get permanent membership at the UNSC whenever the UNSC decides to expand itself.
Co-presented by Skoda. Simply clever.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.